did, and we get back to getting back to having meetings and doing all those great things that we do. And one of the, to piggyback off what we were just talking about, my wife gets to be a guinea pig here in a couple days. She actually gets to have those vaccines come through since she works at a nursing facility. So she gets to have hers here in a couple days. So guinea pig, yeah, she's real excited about it. So anyway, again, happy 2021. Hope everybody again had a good New Year's, enjoyed taking however you celebrated and had a good time. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't get any calls from anybody asking for bail because you got into trouble, so thank goodness for that. Just a couple quick announcements before we get into our program this evening. Hopefully you all saw the correspondence that came through during the holiday season about the new member incentive. And I'm going to let Governor Bob talk about that for just a little bit. So Governor Bob, would you please enlighten us?
Well, everybody should have received these, the announcement that Josephine sent out. If not, let us know. We're happy to send it out again. But like we had a couple of years ago, we have the 2020-21 Let's Grow membership incentive. So what that means that clubs will receive $100 for every one net gain in membership. That net gain will be taken a look at in the October 9th, 2021 Kiwanis International membership that they send out. And that will be what you have given them as your roster. And that will be what you will be going to be billed at by Kiwanis International. So it's very simple. And if you're not sure what your starting number was, just contact your lieutenant governor. They have all those numbers. They should have given them to you by now. So a very simple analogy is that, if you start with 20 members and you add 10, but you lose 4 along the way, that means that you have gained 6 members, and you will receive from our district in October of next year a check for $600. So this includes not only bringing in new members, 2 legs of the stool, bringing in new members, but member retention. And I got a question that was sent to me today, and it does include all losses, whether it's death or somebody's moving, whatever loss it may be. We have to sit back and say, what's our normal loss, and then take a look at growing to not only to cover that, but to supplement and to bring our membership levels up. So this should be fun. I know Kiwanis loves challenges. And so there are many ways to do this. Tim Shepard, who's not on the call, unfortunately, is he covers our membership chair, and he would be happy to talk to any club and how we can continue to bring more members in. But, personally, I would look at a satellite club. If you don't have one, it's a great way to bring members in because you can structure it any way you want. You don't have to have meal costs. So there are a number of different ways you can do it to bring those members in, to bulk and increase the amount of people that are out, Kiwanians that are out there helping kids in the community. Again, for every Kiwanian, we impact the lives of 206 kids. So that's what this is about. And it's a great way to give some of that money back to our membership. Okay. Thanks, Derek. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd say there should be some questions there for a couple of you. Did I see someone's hand up? I thought I saw somebody's hand up.
I thought I saw something in chat, but I can't. No.
Well, if there are any questions about it, you could either get in the chat and private message Governor Bob, Governor-elect Robin, or our Executive Director, Josephine Young, and they can answer those questions for you so we can keep moving along with the program. Second thing I wanted to bring up was wanted to let everybody know if you are in club leadership or if your club leaders have not seen it yet, we are offering a new program starting this month on the 19th. We're going to set up for the third Tuesday night of every other month to start off with. It's called Kiwanis Corner. And Kiwanis Corner is an opportunity for current club leaders, specifically presidents, vice presidents, president-elects, to come together in this virtual environment that we're in and do some networking, talk about issues that the clubs are having, and we as a district are going to have a mentoring team that we've assembled that is going to help at each one of those meetings with your particular issues. Again, we're going to start this off as a pilot program, so it's going to be every other month to start off. So we'll start it this month on the 19th, and then we'll go to March, and then we'll go to May. And if we have a pretty good response, Governor Bob and the district board have allowed some flexibility, so that way we could structure it so that we start doing them every month. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we get some good attendance for this. So please, if you're a club, if you're in club leadership with them as a president, vice president, president-elect, or if you have not seen or heard anything of this and you're interested in it, you can either get a hold of Josephine or myself, and we can send you that information. But there was an email that was sent out last week to the club presidents on this. So please, again, we're looking to just again provide additional support to those of you in leadership to help you try to navigate through, trying to get through this COVID and trying to help navigate our clubs with what's going on. So just so everybody as a reminder, January 19th, 6:30, and we've got the link sent out, and we will send that again probably next week as a reminder for everybody. So any questions with that? Okay, well, that's all the announcements for tonight. It was pretty short and sweet. I wanted to keep it kind of easy for the first one of the year. But I'd like to introduce our presenter tonight. Her name is Shelby Mattingly. She is the executive director for Inside the Orchestra. Just a little bit about Shelby. She has over 16 years of financial management and event planning experience in both for-profit and nonprofit sectors. She holds a bachelor's of fine arts and theater performance from Denison University and a master's in public administration with a concentration in nonprofit management from the University of Colorado in Denver. She is a committed volunteer dedicating hours to many organizations, including Girls on the Run of the Rockies, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Ronald McDonald House, Casa de Plaza, and she is also a current Kiwanian as a member of the Northeast Metro Club. So we're glad to have her in as a Kiwanian. She's also the current president of the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce Downtown Power Partners Group and the chair of the Aurora Cultural Arts District Stakeholders Group. Shelby has been with Inside the Orchestra since 2012 and is thrilled to commit her professional career to centering children in the world of arts. And, you know, the biggest reason why I wanted to invite Shelby here tonight is I was talking with Robin probably about 6, maybe 8 weeks ago, and talking about, you know, an interesting program that has, you know, been navigating and trying to figure out its way through this pandemic. And when she started talking to me about what Shelby has done with Inside the Orchestra, I thought it was a very interesting story. And I thought it was something that would be very communicatable to us as a group, as Kiwanians and volunteers who are trying to make a difference in our communities. So I thought Shelby would make a good program to bring in tonight to talk about what she's been dealing with her nonprofit and the way that she's kind of helped navigate through COVID. So Shelby, again, welcome to the program, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me? A thumbs up. Okay, great. Yeah, so my name's Shelby, and that was a great introduction. I don't feel that I need to introduce myself beyond that. I have been with Inside the Orchestra for over 8 years now, and the first 7 of those years was spent doing large-scale immersive educational concerts for children. Which, as you can imagine, in COVID times is not what we're doing. So normally we do really immersive, interactive, in-person concerts for kids, both open to the public and in the K-8 school system. And we have not been able to do public performances since March. That was the last time we did a public, actually February 29th was the last time we did a public performance. And it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around. I think a lot of people are experiencing that, but for us, you know, we had a completely full set of concerts in Littleton on February 29th, which was a Saturday. We saw 1,200 people that day. And 13 days later, we canceled the entire rest of the season And little did we know that we'd be here almost a year later and still not able to do in-person programming. So we've had to really pivot in a lot of ways. There's pretty much nothing that we do that looks exactly the same as it did before, except that we've really wanted to keep our mission of bringing music to kids. I've said a lot this year, the circumstances have changed, but our mission hasn't. And so we have had to really focus our energies on being creative and responsive, and how can we still bring music to kids throughout Colorado, and now outside of Colorado. I mean, we are a Colorado nonprofit organization. Typically, we do all of our programming in the Metro Denver area. But once you take things online, suddenly you are giving access to people from all over the country. And in our case, global. We've had global use of our online programming. So it's been a really wild and unusual year at Inside the Orchestra. And I wanted to just share a little bit about some of our challenges and some of our successes. I thought I would start by sharing an intro video that will give you a quick rundown of what life normally looks like at Inside the Orchestra. I can describe it, but it's way more fun to let the musician show you what we do. So I'm going to share a video, about 4-minute video about us, and I'm going to share a few different videos and also give you a little bit of a tour of our online programming. If anybody has any questions at any point though, please just pop it in the chat or raise your hand or give a thumbs up. I'm happy to answer questions as I'm speaking, and then of course I'm happy to take questions at the end. So you would think at this point of all of our Zoom life, I'd be really savvy with the whole Zoom thing, but I sometimes still struggle with screen sharing aspects. So if you can't hear or if you can't hear the video once I share, please do let me know in chat, because I have done talks where it's 2 or 3 minutes in before somebody says, "Are we supposed to be hearing something?" Yes, you're supposed to be hearing something. So give me 1 second. All right, can everybody see my screen? Great, okay. Now the real test.
We believe above all else.
Can you hear?
A thriving cultural community for
Great.
adults.
I am not hearing. Is anybody else not hearing?
Nope, not anymore.
Nope, can't hear anything right now.
You're muted too, Shelby.
Okay, were you hearing the video for a minute there or a second there? Yes? Okay, great, Josephine. Okay, great.
We believe above all else that if we want a thriving cultural community for adults and for the whole city, that the way to do that is start with the kids. Inside the Orchestra is an education program for children focusing on bringing them an immersive experience with the world of the orchestra and the performing arts.
The idea was to actually give them the experience of being in an orchestra. The kid is basically the focal point. You know, this is about me, and I can hear it all the way around.
We really have two.
No volume anymore.
Experience.
Well, that's about right.
I think when you mute yourself, for some reason.
Oh, got it. Okay, thanks for that information. I'll stop doing that.
That's it.
The idea was to actually give them the experience of being in an orchestra. The kid is basically the focal point. You know, this is about me, and I can hear it all the way around.
We really have two main programs that we do most of the season, and those are our Tiny Tots programs, which are open to the public. They're designed for kids 6 and under. And then we have our Inside the Orchestra for Schools program, and that's in the Denver Metro school system where we actually go on site at schools.
You have to experience it to really get the full effect of how amazing this program is. They get to be up close to the sounds, and a lot of them have never experienced anything like that.
We take a lot of pride in listening to the community that we serve, talking to parents and teachers and schools about what they need. And from that discussion, the bilingual program was born.
We're letting those kids know that we value your culture and we value your language, and that really makes them feel like a part of this community, and it just means so much more to them.
That's what music does. It reaches people of all ages, all backgrounds, all communities. And what we want to do with this group is to serve all of Denver.
Orchestra music can feel inaccessible for people for a variety of reasons. So our public programs are completely open door. We have suggested ticket price, but we never require payment from anyone to attend. Our school program is free to the schools that we see. We're all over the community, so we make it easy for parents and children and teachers and schools to come to our programs. Tiny Tots performances are big. It's big in terms of performers, and it's big in terms of audience, and it's a busy environment.
We take a lot of time designing the shows and the narration to suit that age group. For this show, we're talking about animals and music. And so we're drawing from lots of different things that the kids would know. You know, we want to start with what they know and then show them how music can relate to that as well.
Sometimes we do pieces of music that there's no way anyone would say, oh, you should put that in a program for 3-year-olds. But the kids can hang with it. They love it. We have kids who want to sit right next to the bassoon. They want to sit right next to the cello because they figured out right away the instrument that they connect with, and they can articulate that really, really early, even if it's pre-verbal, and they just run to it with a face full of wonder.
A lot of times I'll look out and they're conducting along with me. And I think some of them are actually doing a better job than I am. But we get people all the time, they say their kids enjoy it so much, they want to start playing the piano, they want to start playing the violin. And that's really what it's about. Music is an art, and art defines a culture. And if we can get kids to be participants in the culture that way, I feel like we've been very successful.
I think that in this day and age, it can be hard to be a child and to just have fun and enjoyment and creativity. And we bring that to kids in this community, and we see the benefits of that time and time again. We get letters from kids, we get notes from their parents. We hear over and over again about how much our programs impact the children. And so I do my job for them.
Okay, so that is a little overview of what we're normally doing. We're bringing concerts into schools in K through 8 for K through 8 students. And then we're doing programs that are open to the public, which we're most well known for publicly as our Tiny Tots concerts. They're designed for kids 6 and under. A unique element to Inside the Orchestra is we are the only professional orchestra in the country that is focused solely on children. So we're really experts in the area of immersing kids in the world of the orchestra and performing arts, and making sure that it's a really accessible experience for them. So when COVID hit and we had to shut down all of our public programs, we needed to immediately find a way to still bring music to kids. And we had a pretty fast turnaround. I mean, I think one of the reasons we resonated with people online quickly was because I think I mentioned earlier, March 13th, we announced our shutdown. March 16th, we started what we've been calling our Outside the Orchestra initiative. We just luckily had a name that worked real well to change it to from inside to outside the orchestra. And so we started doing daily emails with content that parents and teachers could use in remote learning, and that parents could use at home with their kids to engage them with the world of the orchestra and performing arts. We did everything from really simple hands-on activities, craft activities, to curated playlists, to more complex online musical games, to intro videos with our musicians, kind of anything we thought that would engage kids at home. We started creating that content and batching into these daily emails that originally, when the first school closures and all of that happened, it's important to note that the kids we serve, about 60% of our attendees throughout the year are coming through the school system. They're either we're going on site at schools, or they're coming via field trips to our public programs. So for us, until schools are operating as normal and doing field trips and having assemblies, we needed an alternative option. But initially, when DPS went virtual, we thought it was going to be 3 weeks. So we're going to start doing daily emails for 3 weeks. And after those 3 weeks ended, and it was clearly going to be a lot longer than that, we started shifting even more and thinking bigger. And so the next phase of our Outside the Orchestra initiative was to do a complete revamp of our website. And our website now is really an online content hub with free resources for parents and teachers to use to explore music and art at home. And so what we've seen is that a lot of teachers are using it across the country. And because we have a lot of programming in multi-languages, so we do, as you saw in the video, we typically do English and Spanish. But we've also started doing programming in French in COVID times. So teachers around the world have been able to start engaging with our free resources online, which has allowed us to still really serve our mission, even though we haven't been able to do in-person programs. So I thought I'd show you real quick what our website looks like now. Obviously you didn't see it before, but let's just say before it was a lot about in-person events. And now it's not about that at all. So I'm gonna share it this time. It doesn't have to do with audio. I should have given the caveat. The reason I kept muting myself is I do have 3 dogs and they like to make themselves known in the Zoom environment. So if you hear a lot of barking, that's my dogs. They're happy to meet you. Give me one sec. All right, so here we are again. This is the main homepage of the Inside the Orchestra website. When you come on here, you'll see there's a button here that says in the center says Tiny Tots Login. I'll get to that in just a minute, but we brought our entire Tiny Tots season online in a virtual experience. And so that's for people who have signed up for that. You can go up to the top to virtual programming, and we created a activity database. People can sort activities by age of the child, whether they're a parent or caregiver, a homeschool family, or a teacher, whether they're looking for DIY crafts, video content. When you click each of these buttons, it starts sorting activities below, and then you can go scroll through and say, okay, these are the types of things that fit the parameters I put into these buttons on top. And then I can click and find, oh, okay, great. These are videos about percussion instruments, which is great for the age of child that I wanted to work with. This is something we found teachers using a ton in virtual programming, because it's pretty tough for music teachers right now who aren't able to get hands-on. And we've got a lot of content for them to engage with here. You can also go to our audio playlist library. This is a great resource for people of all ages. At the top, you'll see buttons where you can sort by different types of moods. So if you're looking for upbeat music or quieter music, music for specific activities, music about the outdoors, you can click on that and it'll take you to a section that has all the different types of playlists under that area. And under each of some of them, you'll see hyperlinks that take you to more in-depth activity guides that involve that playlist. But these are all Spotify free, just curated, organized playlists for people to use, so that if all you can do in a day, because you're a busy parent with kids at home and virtual learning, is play some classical music because you want your kids to explore classical music, then this is a great option for you. We also have a whole educational video page. This takes a little bit of time to load usually because there's a ton of video content on here. We have art parties where our musicians guide kids through making art at home in response to music. We have all about the orchestra and instruments, lots of different instruments and different concepts from the orchestra, like conducting, different things about different specific, more unique aspects of orchestral music, and then tons of performance videos as well. We also did a lot of story times. We have story times with our teaching artists we work with, craft videos, and lots of other things on this video page. Then one of the items that has been absolutely a #1 fan favorite online these days is our musical games. We're seeing those used a lot in virtual classrooms around the country and around the world. And so kids can play different instruments. If they click, learn to identify instruments. These will also eventually prompt you to take a quiz to identify instrument sounds. You can play instrument memory, just like a memory card game like you would play, except this one has different instruments from the orchestra. There's various, you can do beginner, intermediate, and advanced of musical memory, and I will tell you that advanced is genuinely hard. You can play brass and percussion, you can compose your own song, and you can send that to your teacher where it says share your song. That's something we're seeing happen a lot. They can also share their song with us. That's not a requirement, but one of the cool things we've seen is we've seen song submittals from all over the world, including France and as far away as Argentina and Russia, and kids from all over the world submitting their original compositions. We've taken some of those compositions and had them performed by our musicians and sent those videos back to the kids, which has been really fun for them and a way for us to directly engage with kids in writing their own music. More complicated lessons like musical maps. You can play orchestra bingo. Pick the parts is a fun activity where kids can turn on and off different instruments in a quintet to hear how instruments and musicians work together and individually. So the orchestra games is an example of a type of resource we've never had before. We never had a need for something like that. We've always done activity guides for parents and teachers to use before and after the concert with kids at home. And so the element of the database where people can search for activities and ways to engage with music, the playlists, those are things that we've created in the past. Not a lot of it is original to 2020, but some of it we had created prior to 2020. When it came to the musical games and then this Tiny Tots virtual programming, I'll show you here in a second, all of that's brand new. We've never done anything like that before. And with all the videos, we started, of course, with musicians filming themselves at home because that was the only way we could do it. And now we film them with, we have a more legitimate video camera. It's not all selfie iPhone videos anymore. But we had to learn in real time how to operate that equipment, how to use it, how to use a soundboard, all of these things that when you specialize in live musical events, you don't need to know. And it's been a real learning experience for everyone on staff. And one of the reasons I look a little frazzled today is because we are filming our next set of programs. And so we film musicians one at a time in a room by themselves with a glass walls with me and our program manager on the other side. so we can keep everybody safe, but still have musicians able to play. And they play on camera, and then we're running the whole tech and editing and doing all of that after the fact. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a couple of other little online components here, but I wanted to know if anyone had any questions before I did that.
I guess I had a question about your initial email. Did you have primarily teachers and stuff as far as your list, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we did send that out to everyone on our normal mailing list. We have thousands of people on our mailing list because we typically see thousands of people a year in in-person programs. It's a typical year for Inside the Orchestra is that we'll do 90 to 120 programs, and we'll see 20 to 25,000 people. So we did invite all of our mailing lists to take part in the daily emails, but we didn't want to start just sending people daily emails without them opting in. And so we had a separate opt-in even for the people already on our mailing list. They needed to sign up for the daily emails. But we also posted about it on social media. And honestly, I think we just kind of hit at the exact right time. We posted on March 13th that we would be doing daily emails and people could sign up. And I think it was just right at that moment that a lot of teachers and parents were looking, where they're going, what the heck am I going to do with my kids at home? How the heck am I going to teach music virtually? And so we got a bunch of signups really fast on that email sign up list. And I'll show you in just a second the map of usage, which kind of blows our mind right now. Any other questions? Okay, cool. So another thing that we've done is take our entire Tiny Tots experience online. And that was really one of our big concerns around that, was how to do that in a way that still felt really like an Inside the Orchestra experience. As you saw in the video, what we're known for is putting kids on the floor, on the stage, or in the gymnasium where we're performing, and the musicians are around them. So the kids are really part of the experience. We normally have teaching artists who are, typically we partner with Denver Center for the Performing Arts, have teaching artists who guide the kids through the program, teaching them about the music as it's being performed around them, getting them to respond and dance and move and sing. So we couldn't just start filming musicians playing music and put that on the screen and have that be a Tiny Tots experience, because we're talking, you know, kids 6, 5, 4 years old. We needed to find a way for it to still be interactive and still feel unique and special to what we do. That's been the real driving force through all of the planning of our programs, was that it had to still feel like an Inside the Orchestra experience. And how could we do that? So one of the benefits of us filming musicians individually is that being able to get up close with the camera and really show kids the instruments is the way that that is how they would experience it in a Tiny Tots. They'd be able to sit 3 feet from an instrument and see how it's working. And we wanted to mimic that experience as much as possible. We also wanted them to feel like other kids were taking part in the program with them. So we have B-roll rolling, which you'll see in here in just a minute, of other kids doing the prompts, sometimes dogs, sometimes cats, you know, just any way to engage kids and make them feel like they're part of an event that's happening. We really don't want it to be passive screen time. We want it to feel active and interactive. So people can sign up for Tiny Tots. It's a paid program if they can afford it, but just like our normal Tiny Tots in person, our ticket price in person is suggested. We do not require payment for you to attend, and schools can get discounts as needed. Not to mention that our normal Tiny Tots ticket price is only $9.95, so it's not a very, you know, it's not a wildly high priced program anyway, but we always give lots and lots of people free access, and that's the same with our online programming. Most of the programming, all of the things I just showed you, are free and available to anyone on our site. And then anyone who needs a discounted or free access to Tiny Tots gets it. And currently we have it available. There's about 5,000 people who are getting free access. So let's give you a little tour of what it's like if you're signed up for Tiny Tots. All right, so when you log in, if you sign up for the whole season, you can sign up for the whole season or you can sign up for any individual program. You'll see welcome to your virtual Tiny Tots hub. You have 3 program options. We'll start with Explore the Outdoors real quick. You can click on Explore the Outdoors and you'll see 3 languages. So I want to do programming in English, Spanish, or French. We're going to go with English because that's what I speak. Once you go into the English, you can pick either performance videos or activities and games. So typically at an in-person Tiny Tots, kids would get hands-on with instruments. We have what we call an instrument petting zoo. We usually have, as I mentioned, activity guides for parents and teachers to use at home. So that's the kind of online replication of that is happening on this right side. And then performance videos is if you want to go watch Tiny Tots. So let's click performance videos first. You're going to see over here in the upper left-hand corner where it says full performance. That's if you just want to watch the whole program. It's about 40 minutes long. Teaching artists will introduce each piece of music. There are a dozen different pieces performed. And that's really a watch and interact and dance and move. That's the whole program right there. Yes, you can click our composer. Our conductor to get fun musical facts. Our conductor is a big part of the program normally, so we made him into a cartoon and put him on the website so that kids could still interact with him. Also, one thing that the teachers really like is that when you're in this, you can do shorter videos. So all of these videos over here on the right side are short 2 to 4 minute videos with an introduction and then a piece of music. And you can sort them in this center column by the instruments that are represented in those videos. So if I want to see, if I'm a teacher who wants to show my students a string program, here are the different icons for the different videos that have strings in them. Let's do woodwinds or brass or percussion. Then if you click on one of those, you're going to get the video is going to pop up for you to watch.
How would you feel if you were about to go on a big outdoor adventure?
So that's our teaching artist introducing the program. And then as you obviously go through, she's going to tell you the different instruments that are going to be, what you're going to see. She's going to tell you what you should be imagining while the music plays. And I'll show you one of those videos in just a minute in full. So you can go back and let's go to activities and games. Here's our program manager, Sarah, and her cartoon. You can click her for suggested activities. And then we've got a bunch of different things that you can do that are all related to the theme of Explore the Outdoors. So we have an activity where kids can play a matching game of what instrument sounds like which animal. They can do that right here on the screen. A string exploration activity, since we're highlighting the strings in this program. You can draw yourself as a musician. This one always takes a little bit. You have to reboot it a couple times, so I won't hover on that one for too long. You can work on playing a spelling game to learn how to spell the different instruments. All of that is in this activities and games section. And when you're signed up for Tiny Tots, for the whole season, there will be 6 of these releases. So what I just gave you an extremely quick tour of is one of them. You'll get 6 throughout the year, and you'll also get an activity book that comes that gets mailed home to kids. So we just released our Christmas program. Here's the Christmas page, really similar setup in that performance videos and activities and games. If you look real close, it is snowing on our Christmas page. That's something we like quite a bit and the kids really enjoy. And it's all the same thing, different pieces of music, all holiday music, different prompts, but the same kind of organizational system so that parents and teachers know what they're doing. Once they've done one, they'll know what's going on with all of them. So real quick, I'm going to show you let's see, a Tiny Tots video so you can get what I'm talking about here. All right, well, I clicked on a Spanish one, so let's all immerse ourselves in Spanish here for just a second.
¿Sabe lo que pasa cada vez que comienza un nuevo día? El amanecer. No importa en qué parte del mundo vives, en los Estados Unidos, Australia, Brasil, Sudáfrica o más allá, todos compartimos el mismo amanecer. Esta pieza musical trata sobre el amanecer. Si hicieron su máscara.
So that is our Spanish teaching artist, Robert. And then this is our English speaking teaching artist, Maggie.
Can you tell me what happens at the start of every day? The sunrise. No matter where you live, the United States, Australia, Brazil, South Africa, and beyond, we all share the rising sun. This piece of music is all about the warm rising sun. So if you made a sun mask, take that to turn yourself into the sun. Imagine your warm rays spreading all around the earth, waking up sleeping birds, and warming up the air. You could use your arms to be the rays of the sun. So go up to the side, spread all around. All right, warm rising sun. Let's wake up the earth as we listen to this next piece of music featuring the flute, English horn, the violin, the cello, and the piano. So that's just a quick example of one of the short videos. If you were watching a whole Tiny Tots, there'd be a bunch of those intros and lots of different pieces of music with lots of different vibes to them, from very excited to a very chill. We like to give kids lots of different musical experiences. And we've had
a really unique and interesting experience because we've had kids from all over the country participate. So normally, obviously at Tiny Tots, we do programs all around Metro Denver, and we'd see people from Denver. And we actually have had people sign up in 35 states for programming online. And we've had people all over the world experience the programs globally. We had a really interesting experience recently. One of our musical games broke on the website, and we found out about it because we had a group of teachers from Australia email us and tell them it was broken and they needed it for their class that day. These are new problems. We're very tech heavy now. We didn't used to be very tech heavy at all. And it's been a really kind of amazing experience for us this year. As I'm sure you know, financially, it's been pretty devastating in the world of the performing arts. So we've had a lot of really, really valuable mission moments for inside the orchestra. And in the meantime, we've been having to kind of hustle fast to make sure we can still make the business model work so we can still live to play another concert someday in public. But I'll just drop in the chat the map of the states that are participating right now in the US. And yeah, I think that's kind of where I'll wrap it up right now. Lots of information for you. There's a ton more stuff, but I don't want to bombard you. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Shelby. It's Robin.
Yeah, hi, Robin.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
And as a fellow colleague in the arts and culture sector, first, I just must congratulate you on such an amazing job. We all were just like deer staring in the headlights in March, and you just so quickly went from these huge in-person performances to the virtual environment, which we all have. Clearly, we're all on the Zoom call tonight. But also your website, which was full of great data and information about performances before, has just become so interactive. I put the website in the chat bar for people to go and just play around with it. But I just wanted to thank you for reaching out to kids, and really during these last 9 months, just, I think really, just being there, not only for the kids, but for the music teachers, and, just expressing how important our arts and culture are to us as humans. But my question for you has to do with moving forward. Do you ever see yourself going back to being full-time in person, or do you think that this is something that has caused you to kind of look at a different business model where maybe it'll be hybrid, or that you will engage other countries and states in the online environment?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and it's one I'm still answering. I had originally thought, in March, when we had such activity on our site, and we had to, in the next few months, we had to upgrade the size of our site. For anyone who knows about that kind of thing, our site wasn't used to holding the number of users that we were getting. And then we had all this video content, so it was bogging things down. And I kind of thought, we're in this beginning time of COVID. People are really needing stuff right now. We're meeting their need. Who knows what it'll look like down the road? Well, we've seen it. We've seen the usage grow. It grew all through 2020. So every month we had more usage than the use prior. So I do think we will probably always have a virtual component going forward. The free resources we have now, those will continue to live on our site. We're not going to take those away now that they're available. I think for us, the real question is, like, for example, the Tiny Tots experience, is that something we'll still try to do online? We would not, staff-wise, be able to do both. We would not be able to do the way we used to do in-person programs and the way we do online programs, because we were real busy then and we're real busy now. But some hybrid. We're also looking at packaging our full year of virtual content into a really like click and go curriculum, specifically for rural schools to engage with orchestra, schools that can't come to a field trip at all to see the orchestra. So it will exist in the future. How exactly that looks, we're still figuring it out.
I guess my question relates to somewhat the same thing about your geographic presence. Obviously, you started out being in the Denver metropolitan area, and now you're almost international with your web presence.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts for the future about geographically dealing with people in the, say, the Denver metropolitan area, or where do you see yourself going geographically with the services you offer?
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting because we've talked for a long time, but the idea of going national has been chatted about for years at Inside the Orchestra, because we have really unique programming that we'd like to see in other cities. And when we've had a few times over the years that media has picked up stories about our programs, we do get calls from other states of people who want to come, and we have to go, oh, actually, we only do programs in Colorado. So it's not a total shock to see that people have been interested outside of Colorado. And it's been kind of a funny, in this very stressful past year, we've joked, oh, well, hey, we figured out a way to go national that we didn't expect. I think our mission is geographically based. So our mission says Metro Denver. Our board is gonna like ride out the rest of this season and then figure out if we need to revisit, or if it's more about packaging and providing to other organizations. I think we never would have predicted the amount of engagement and use. And so we're kind of just like we're learning how to edit videos in real time. Excuse me. We're learning how to serve an international audience in real time. Any other? Oh, yeah, Steve.
I had a question about the pivot to tech and all the other creative things that came into this. Were you able to use new people or new volunteers, or was it the existing staff and folks internally that made that same kind of pivot?
So we have some pro bono help with tech that we have had forever. I mean, not forever, but for several years. And so that certainly was helpful in terms of the technical aspects of our pivot. Although I will say that we do 90% of it with our staff, like as that we are doing most of the editing on the site ourselves. We really go to outside sources to do the really kind of cool, fancy stuff that we can't figure out on our own. So Inside the Orchestra staff designed and mapped the entire website, but we didn't make it snow on the website. So anything that kind of goes, whoa, you really need some capabilities to do that, that's where we're getting help. We also have, we've really seen people step up. I mean, we have hired video editors over the past year, but we, 6 months ago, had one of the video editors come to us and say, I'll edit the Tiny Tots season for free. So they're not editing all the teaching artist videos. The staff does that. I do a lot of that, but they are editing all the musician videos, which is much more technologically savvy than the part with the teaching artists. So, although I was really proud of myself when I learned how to do those little icons popping up that say violin and flute and stuff, that's not that impressive to anyone, but I was really proud when I figured out how to do that.
It turned out great. Very polished.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate all of your time. If I leave you with nothing else today, if the arts have impacted your life in any way, shape, or form, if you've been touched by music or theater or dance, arts organizations could really use you right now. And so I would just really encourage you to participate online with any arts organization you're passionate about, or donate $1 if you have one, because this industry is seeing real devastation long term, and many of us will be the last to open again. So my little plug for the arts matter. They're important to all of us. Please support your local and all the arts organizations that mean something to you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Again, Shelby, thank you for the wonderful presentation. And again, I love the plug. That's, it's very important for us to all be well-rounded and be able to support where we can. So hopefully you'll get some folks to help step up. So again, with that, great presentation. Glad to see everybody after the new year, and we will see you again next month. Everybody have a great rest of your night.